Good morning, everybody. Wake up.
Wake up, wake up.
In Provincetown. This week featuring
Wake up, wake up.
Can I have some coffee?
Wake up, wake up.
Make it strong, please. Hey. Oh. Hey.
Wake up, wake up.
Oh. No, really.
Good morning, everybody. It's Friday, April 21st. This is Wake Up at Provincetown. My name's Bob. I'm sorry, I have a frog in my throat today. It's allergy season, so I'm going to be clearing my throat a lot. I'm apologizing to you now for that.
Okay. I'm Harrison.
How are you?
I'm really good. It was a great springy weekend here in P-Town. The weather was temperate.
The weather was allergic. I can't breathe.
I don't know if I'm allergic to stuff.
You're not. I mean, not weather.
You're like, if you're not feeling it now, you're not.
Yeah, if you're not ready to just lay down here and die, then
I'm always ready for that.
But not because of the environment.
Not
just
because of allergies.
internal forces.
Yeah, exactly.
That's great. Who do we have on the show today?
We've got a great show today. So we have Megan and Nathalia coming in from Once on This Island, which is the musical that is running mid-May at the elementary school here in town. I'm very excited for that.
Me too. I also got to sit down with Gwynne Guzzeau, who is the director of Helping Our Women here in Provincetown, one of my favorite local organizations that's entire mission is just to help people out in the community.
Love that. You did a big fundraiser for them for your birthday a couple years ago.
That's in the video.
Oh, work.
Yeah, I left that in there.
Did you talk about what? Okay.
Well, I mean, just wait and watch.
Cute.
Peter Sullivan will love it.
I love that.
Who's that? Just this guy I know. What else? Oh, this is our fourth of 4 select board candidates. We have Austin Knight with us.
Yeah.
The election is May 4th.
Yeah, early voting starts Monday.
Yeah. Oh, you can vote as soon as Monday? But also, you might not want to do that because we have a candidates forum on Thursday, April 27th.
Thursday night at the Crown and Anchor. It's going to be hosted by me and the Provincetown Independent. It's going to be really exciting. We did that a couple years ago. Last year we didn't do it just because it wasn't a contested race.
Completely open to the public. What time does it start?
I think 6 o'clock. 6 o'clock.
6 o'clock this Thursday, April 27th, in the Paramount Room?
Yes.
Will people be able to get up and ask questions and stuff?
Unsure.
Okay.
Yeah. We have a meeting to nail down all the run and how we're going to do it this weekend.
I wish I could be there, but Thursday, April 27th is also opening night of the Red Inn, where I will be welcoming you all back with open arms.
I love that.
But not open bar tabs. Please remember to close your tab at the end of the night.
Or a 300% tip will be added.
30.
300.
So what happened this week? What'd you do? Where'd you go? Who'd you see?
Last Friday, we'll talk about that later actually. On Sunday, Saturday night I went to Spindler's.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah. So I don't know if everyone knows, but a new restaurant group took over Spindler's at the end of last season. They didn't make a lot of changes at the end of last season. They kind of just entered the space, kind of helped everything move along in the fashion that they were doing it. But this season they kind of made a little changes. They have a really incredible cocktail menu. They even have a drink that has avocado in it, which I think is a really fun idea.
Ooh.
Yeah, it makes the drink kind of like milky and like smooth. Not your thing?
Ethan's like, oh, like there's bees in his face or something.
But they also, the menu feels slightly smaller but bigger at the same time. You know what I mean? Less items but more varied in my opinion.
What did you get?
I got the burger.
A burger?
Yeah, it's like a Mexican burger. It has like a chorizo potato cake on it.
Ooh.
Yeah, it was very good. It comes with yuca fries.
That sounds delicious.
Yeah. But check it out. Everything there was fantastic. So yeah. Sunday I came here to the drag swap.
Oh.
Yeah, it was so much fun. I think I have a picture of that. Maybe. Yeah. Can't remember. I put it in. It was hosted by Cocktail, who is the reigning bearded mistress. It was tons of fun.
Her name is Cocktail?
Yeah.
Oh. Jeffrey.
Yeah, Jeffrey. It was a lot of fun. House of Liver donated some items to get the swap going, and then people showed up with additional items, took items away. There was lots of fun stuff. Everyone was trying stuff on. It was a lot of fun.
Did Local Honey get anything new?
No.
Oh, why not?
I have so much stuff that I haven't worn, so I don't need like more stuff.
More stuff is good. This
And
is America.
And also, Local Honey's a platinum blonde, and there wasn't any platinum blonde in the
Oh.
pile. Yeah,
Mm.
but that was fun stuff. Sonny and Brittany were working behind the bar, and they got all dressed up. Sonny had his boobs on.
Oh, those boobs.
Those boobs, exactly.
They're so realistic.
Yeah, a size J boob.
I didn't know the boobs came in J.
They do in their silicone. But yeah, that was a lot of fun. Another thing I did this week, so we filmed a lot of interviews this week, and me and Mark went over to the soup kitchen because we had a little extra time in between interviews, and it was my first time that I had ever gone. I'm kind of embarrassed to admit that, considering how delicious everything was. It was so much fun. If you've never been, I think that might have been the last day. I think this is the last week I read. But the food was incredible, the vibe was tons of fun, the staff was incredible and in such a great mood. And it was so fun because as I went through the line, one of the women, they were all masked, and she like took off her mask for a second. She's like, I'm totally starstruck, I'm such a fan of your show. Yeah, so thank you so much for watching, Martha.
Hi, Martha.
Yeah.
I can't believe you've never been in there before.
Me either.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it was great.
No, because sometimes Eric Borg is prepping in the kitchen. He's like, you guys, today it's lasagna. And then we all know to go.
I love that.
If it's something that...
Yeah,
you know,
it was
you gotta hang
quesadillas.
for.
It was like Mexican food. It was really yummy.
A lot of Mexican food this
I
week.
guess, that's weird. I'm not a big Mexican fan.
You're not?
No.
Huh.
Not that I don't like it, it's just I would never choose it, you know?
Right, it's not your first choice.
Yeah, exactly. What did you get up to this week?
Well, I have to tell you, it's official. Jimmy's Hideaway has sold.
I love that.
Like the closing is closed. So congratulations and thanks to Jimmy and Ray for running a really fantastic business for the last 16, 17 years. Enjoy your retirement, gentlemen. I know you'll keep yourselves busy, but and congratulations to Kristen, the new owner.
Yeah.
I got to meet her at a wine tasting a couple of weeks ago. The name of the business is going to stay the same. The staff is staying in place, so you know you're probably not going to feel a huge difference going in there to visit them, but congratulations to everyone involved.
Yeah, and I bet you can probably catch Jimmy in there every once in a while.
Yeah, that's a safe bet.
Yeah.
He'll probably be in there to say hi
Yeah.
once in a while.
Jimmy's is such an incredible representation of, I guess, times gone by when you could work in this town and open your own restaurant. Now it's just corporations
Well,
and short-term rentals.
oh.
Not that I'm entitled to open my own restaurant or anything, but
Let's not forget that the views expressed here are solely those of the two people sitting here and not of any sponsor of the show or what else? What's the rest of this phrase?
anyone affiliated with the show, just my opinion.
Right. Last night was also the opening night of Strangers and Saints in other restaurant
way.
news. So they're back serving food.
It was their food opening.
Yes, their food
Because
opening.
they've been open for cocktails a little.
I think a couple of weeks.
I also went into Harbor Lounge for the first time this week. Or not the first time, but the first time this year, this week.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Must have been beautiful out there.
Oh yeah, it's gorgeous. I love, Harbor Lounge is one of those places where every time you walk in, you like know everyone there. Yeah.
Excellent. Yeah.
Halo started up this Wednesday.
I was like, is that wrap?
I thought you were doing the food this Wednesday.
I was gonna, but then I had to go to a wine tasting for work on Wednesday, so I didn't have time to cook. So then, you know.
Yeah. I think Evan, I heard it was white bean chili, which I know is an Evan specialty, so I think that's who jumped in for you.
Yeah, and I've heard, I mean, he's done that chicken chili twice this winter at
It's
different
so
pop-ups.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to know his recipe.
I know.
Evan. Brad.
Evan.
Yeah, Halo was fun. That was busy.
Yeah, I have become friends with this guy who it's his first season in town, and he's like, oh yeah, I went to Heaven. It's like, people were turned up. And I'm like, that's what Halo will do to you. Yeah.
Yeah. So congratulations, Cafe Heaven. You guys, thanks for being back.
Yeah, things are opening up. It seems like every day things are popping back open.
Yeah. Slowly inching toward summer. What else? What's new in the world?
Did you do anything else this week?
Just getting ready for work.
Oh, also Sunday night, I don't know if you caught it, but Chrissy Judy was playing at Water's Edge Cinema all week, and I got to make it there Sunday night. It was tons of fun. I saw it with a bunch of friends, and a lot of us were in the movie, so it was like applause whenever any of us got in the movie. It was really cute.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Fun.
Yeah.
And you hadn't seen it on the big screen yet?
No, I hadn't even seen the final cut. Yeah, but it is it is available video on demand, so you can buy it or rent it on Amazon, iTunes, all those good things. So check it out. It was great. I cried at the end.
Not throughout the whole thing?
No, not throughout the whole thing.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a character study where you're like kind of hate the characters a little, and then they like learn and grow, and then by the end you're like, oh,
Like life.
yeah. But it's a beautiful film, and it's about like platonic love and heartbreak within that, which I think a lot of queer people can kind of resonate with. So check it out.
What was the tagline? What happens when the family you choose chooses not to choose you anymore?
Something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm getting it wrong, but
that sentiment.
Yeah.
Yeah. What happens when your chosen family unchooses you or something like
Yeah.
that? Something. Yeah. But yeah, it's a beautiful film. Check it out.
Todd.
Yeah. I think he's in Italy right now
oh,
at a film festival. Yeah.
ciao, Todd.
Yeah, he was doing part of the festival. He's doing an interview, and the person interviewing him is the host of Drag Race Italy.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, exactly. So, I told him he should go as Tadana. So he'd be like, "Oh, this old thing," you know. Speaking of Drag Race, I guess we can get into news. So last Friday night was the finale of RuPaul's Drag Race season 15, and a hearty congratulations to Sasha Colby, the winner. I think a lot of us saw this coming. Honestly, all four of the girls that were in the final four were well deserving, and honestly, a couple of the other girls I could have seen winning, and it would have been fantastic. But I do think she kind of stood out. She kind of rarely faltered through the season, so definitely deserved. She dedicated her win to trans people all around the world, and I think she is such an incredible representation of like a happy trans woman being in the public eye, and it's really great. And she's actually the fourth trans winner in a row.
Really?
Yeah, because before her, Jinx Monsoon won All Stars, All Winners. Before that, Willow Pill won season 14, and before that, Kylie Sonique Love won All Stars 6. So, and that's such an incredible feat, because considering I think it was just 4 or 5 years ago when RuPaul was asked if a trans woman would ever compete on Drag Race, she said probably not.
How long ago did she say that?
I think it was like 2018.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and kind of Sasha's storyline throughout the season was that she's this legend, and why did you wait so long to be on the show? And I feel like it was a little bit of they were kind of protecting themselves, because like the reason she wasn't on the show until now is because she wasn't allowed to be on the show until now. I think until season 11 or 12, they had a lot of really strict rules about body modifications. So, yeah, she was finally able to be on the show, and it shows that trans people should have been included from the beginning, because we were missing out on so much incredible art.
And it shows that it's never too late to learn. I mean, RuPaul at some point had to be like, I was wrong about that.
Definitely. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. So congratulations, Sasha Colby. Check out her performance from the finale. It was pretty mind-blowing. Yeah.
Okay.
Hairography.
Oh, I love
Yeah.
hairography.
She had like 6 braids on her head, and like all the dancers would like pull on them, and it was really cool.
Fun.
Yeah. Okay, let's see what else we got for news. Should we do sad news first?
Yes.
Not sad news. I mean, yeah, it's sad. So the Florida legislature passed the Don't Say Gay bill recently, and a lot of critics and skeptics said that this is going to be the start of a slippery slope, and that is exactly what happened this past week. So the Don't Say Gay bill forbids the discussion of sexual orientation and gender identity in pre-K through grades 3. That was the original bill, and also that's the specific wording from the bill, which, like, not discussing sexual orientation is such a weird thing. A weird way to say don't talk about being gay, when sexual orientation includes a lot more than just gay. Like, being straight is a sexual orientation.
Right.
Are you not allowed to discuss that?
Guess not.
Right. But on Wednesday, the Board of Education in Florida voted to extend it through 12th grade.
You can't say gay until 12th grade?
Until after 12th grade.
Oh my God.
Which is crazy, because, I mean, the first bill was crazy, but now it's like we all went to high school with people who were out. Now people are coming out as early as middle school, so it's really going to create a really unhealthy and dangerous environment for these kids. It's now these kids are now going to be getting in trouble for being themselves. And during such a formative time in your life, that is so dangerous.
Yeah, it was already hard enough.
Yeah. Families with queer family members are fleeing Florida at a rapid rate, and there's been videos coming out of Florida lawmakers praising that, which is like, what is going on? Yeah, but Walkout to Learn, which is a student-run organization, is organizing a walkout today. So I full support to those kids trying to change the world and make it a better place for themselves. Yeah.
I mean, why not? I think they should just make it, don't say gay from pre-K through death. You just should never be able to say the word gay in Florida.
That's a bad idea.
Well, no, I'm just saying, like, you talk about a slippery slope. Like,
Oh,
what's
yeah.
the end of this?
I mean-
like, what's the point? What's the goal?
I imagine the end is much scarier than that.
The end is to get, I mean...
It's eradication,
yeah,
it's
get all the
genocide.
gays to move out and then, you know,
Right.
run.
Right. I mean, if you look at historically at genocides, like these are the things that are done to begin them. Othering people. First, it's like naming the group, then it's othering them, then it's legislating them, and soon it will be worse if we don't do something. Yeah. In similar news, so Twitter announced that they were going to revamp their harassment policy, and a lot of sections were different, a lot of sections were the same. And one thing that was different, that was notable, was that there was a section that was kept entirely the same, except for a specific phrase was removed. And that phrase that was removed was targeted misgendering or dead naming of transgender individuals from a list of offenses. So basically, Twitter removed this from their list of offenses, basically allowing people to dead name and harass trans people on Twitter.
Sounds like Twitter.
I think it's time for everyone to get off Twitter
And move out of Florida.
and move. Well, it's so hard to say move out of Florida. Like, that's people's homes, and it's kind of letting them win. I know it's one of those things where personally it's what's best for a lot of people, but I think in the long haul, all it is doing, and I always say this about, people will talk about liberal bubbles or conservative bubbles, and I feel like those things are real, but I feel like what makes them specifically different is liberal bubbles are based on allowing everyone to be a part of it, and conservative bubbles are based on exclusion and pushing people out.
That's fair.
Like, I don't know if, I mean, I'm sure this still happens, but I know every queer kid that I grew up with immediately moved to a city.
Right.
And I feel like that's because you can be safe, you can be yourself, and that is, it's galvanizing both bubbles. One in a positive way, people moving to places where they're more safe, and then in turn making those communities more accepting and diverse,
Right.
and galvanizing conservative by pushing those peoples out, which pushes those voices out, pushes those opinions out, and allows those communities to stay the same.
Totally. I mean, you know, I grew up in a really rural area. First thing I did was move away. And you know, you look back and it's easy to say something like, oh, well, there weren't any gay people where I grew up. That's because they all moved away.
Right.
And then it just kind of stays the way that it is.
Right.
But I'm not moving back anytime soon.
No.
Are you?
No, there's not enough fun there. Okay, I think everything else I got is like fun news.
Really?
Yeah, funnish news. First, let's talk about Coachella. I've never been to Coachella, but I did live in Palm Springs while it was happening, and it definitely brings a lot of energy to the Palm Springs area, and a lot of celebrities. I remember one time I was eyeing this car in a gas station. It was like one of those new electric BMWs, and it had this crazy wrap on it. And then I realized that the guy that was pumping that was inside going back to the car, it was the most gorgeous man I've ever seen. And then I realized it was Kellen Lutz.
Oh.
Do you remember him?
Yeah.
He was in Twilight. Yeah, for his acting.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Big fan of acting.
Of his acting.
Of his acting.
He's gorgeous. And he's an actor. But there was drama at this past Coachella. It was announced a few months ago that Frank Ocean would be the headliner, which is the closing night act for both weekends. And his performance this past weekend was not stellar from reports. So, it was heavily looked forward to just because Frank Ocean hadn't performed in over 6 years. Hours before the set, Coachella announced that it was the only set that wouldn't be live streamed, which is weird considering it's the headliner.
Yeah.
Well, the only other besides Bjork's set.
Bjork didn't want to be live streamed?
But how Bjork of her?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So there was also no Frank Ocean merch available.
Oh, that's weird.
Right, which prompted the people that were working the merch tables to make these giant signs that said no Frank Ocean merchandise. And, that immediately became available on the internet, so you can buy T-shirts, sweatshirts, hats that say "No Frank Ocean" merchandise. That's great merch at this point. You know what I mean? So he showed up an hour late to his performance, and fans were kind of shocked because the stage was entirely bare, and he was kind of sitting off to the back in front of a piano facing sideways and had a camera on him, which was then projected to the big screen, so there wasn't much of a performance to watch. And especially if you've heard of any of the other headlining performances or seen Beyonce's Homecoming performance, which is on Netflix, they typically have an incredible amount of spectacle. It came out later that there was a plan to have professional hockey players and ice skaters skate around him in a giant skating rink that they had built, and plans were scrapped day of, and it was actually dismantled. Like, it was already built and everything.
Oh boy.
Yeah, there's reports that certain media outlets reported that Frank Ocean was like, I don't want to do that anymore, take it down. And other media outlets said that it was because he hurt his leg earlier in the week.
Did he hurt everyone's leg?
Right, that's what I'm saying.
No one could ice skate?
Right, and also, like, if you hurt your leg last week, why would they still build the skating rink and take it down hours before?
He sounds mercurial.
Just questions. It's an SAT word. At one point in the middle of the set, a DJ came on stage and just played 6 random songs that are unrelated to Frank Ocean. A lot of the music he was performing was remixes of his own songs, which he didn't even lip sync to, he just danced around to.
This sounds like somebody who's really going through something.
Yeah, exactly. There were minutes long silences in the middle of the set, and then after about 40 minutes, he left the stage and then announced into the microphone that he had reached curfew and he would not be continuing her performance.
That's how he ended the night?
Yeah.
The curfew sneaks up on you when you're an hour late.
Right. But it's just, I feel like it's a bummer for the fans who spent a lot of money, but yeah. Coachella's also owned by a monster, so.
Yeah, but that's fan disservice. That's
Yeah,
the
exactly.
kind of thing that turns fans
Yeah.
into not fans.
And it just came out yesterday that Frank Ocean would not be doing his set this Sunday. He dropped out of his second weekend set, and that he would be replaced by Blink-182. Yeah, which I think is a weird choice. I don't think a lot of Frank Ocean fans are Blink-182 fans. I honestly think they should have promoted Charlie XCX from her, I think, a midday Saturday set to headliner.
Oh, you're one of those.
I mean, Frank Ocean has never had a top 40 hit. Charlie XCX has had 2 number ones. So,
He's
who's
one
the
of
bigger
those.
artist?
He's one of those
I sent
Charlies.
you that. I got you. Yeah. In other entertainment news, so a few days ago, both Cynthia Erivo and Ariana Grande posted these kind of like first glimpse images of their characters in the Wicked movie onto their Instagram. Both pictures were very like pulled back, meaning like the picture Ariana Grande posted was her like walking up a flight of stairs, but it was like, if this is the picture, she was this big in it. It like, very much seemed like they were trying to keep it mysterious. Both the pictures were beautiful. Ariana in a pink dress, and obviously Cynthia Erivo in the Elphaba getup. But then the next day, there are tons and tons of videos from the set leaked. People were droning into the set.
Rude.
Right, and also like filming from like across the way, and because they were filming, they had like speakers playing the music that they were all dancing to, and you could hear it. There was a lot of discussion on social media about whether it was actually Ariana Grande's singing or if it was a track of someone else. There was a lot of people saying like, oh no, that's Kristen Chenoweth singing, and like she's performing to that track just to get the mouth right, and then they were going to record later. But I listened to a lot of it, and at first I was skeptical, but the more I listened to it, I was like, that's Ariana.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of people were shocked because she wasn't doing, like, Ariana Grande is an incredible technical singer, and when you are an incredible technical singer, you can do so much with your voice, and she is kind of letting go of that pop affect that she does and putting on her musical theater soprano role. Yeah, and one of my favorites was at the end of, I think Thank Goodness or something, there's a really high note, I think it's a high C, and she opted up to the high E, so get it. I think we're in for a treat. I think it's going to be an incredible movie
When
based
does it
on
come
it.
out?
I think this coming Christmas or maybe even
Oh,
2024.
Christmas? Really?
Yeah, I think it might be Christmas 2024. I'm not
Yikes.
positive.
That's a long time from now.
Yeah,
I mean, The Little Mermaid is in a month.
I can't wait for that either.
I know.
Yeah. Speaking of musicals, this past Sunday was the final performance of Phantom of the Opera. So Phantom of the Opera premiered in January of 1988. This past Sunday was their final show and their 13,981st show.
That's the longest running show ever, right?
Yep. The crowd was invitation only. A lot of past actors from the show, Broadway lovers, other celebs, and lottery winners. You said your friend saw it, right? Mm-hmm. Awesome.
Lucky.
her, right?
And
Exactly.
to be like, oh, I've never seen this before. I'm like, you've lived in New York your entire life and you've never seen
That's
Phantom of the
crazy.
Opera.
Andrew Lloyd Webber spoke at the end. He was joined by the producer and also Sarah Brightman, who is the original Christine. And they had every single performer who had ever played Christine or the Phantom on Broadway on stage with them at the end.
I heard that there were only 7 women ever who played Christine on Broadway. Is that true?
That can't be real.
That can't be real, right?
Yeah, especially with
Like they
understudies.
each played it for 8 years?
I mean, a lot of people do. When you get a gig like that,
There were some people in the cast that were in it the entire time.
right?
Can you
Yeah.
imagine your entire Broadway career was just one show?
That sounds amazing, though.
Some people think that sounds great, and
But
some people it's
you
a
also-
nightmare.
Sing for 2 hours a night, and you
Yeah.
give you wages, and you raise
Yeah.
kids, and you have a house.
Right, that's a lot of people that were in it for 20, 30 years said that like this provided me stability. And when you're a working actor, you do a show for 2 years and then you do something else, you go through breaks where you're not getting paid. And those people like you said, people in it for 30 years, they'd start as certain roles, they'd play different roles, they know the show inside and out. A lot of the tech people were there the whole time. That sounds magical because I feel like it'd be like a little family. And like Phantom's not my favorite. I don't love Phantom, but I respect it as such an incredible piece of theater and art. You go to see it now and you're like, oh, the chandelier flies down. But that's only because we've seen Wicked and all these other shows that have done these incredible spectacles. That was the original mind-blowing set. The show ran for over 3.5 hours, and they're saying simply because everyone kept clapping for everything. Like not only the end of
course.
right, not only for the end of the iconic songs, but also like random set pieces. Like, you know, they'd...
The gondola.
Yeah, they'd unveil
Like,
the gondola,
"Ooh,
they'd unveil the thing would fall, and people would just not stop clapping. But it's so iconic, 30 years of it. Yeah, 40.
35.
Oh yeah, 35. Wild.
I know.
Yeah.
I feel like Chicago is now probably the one that's still playing that's the longest.
That
running.
one's tough because technically it's a revival.
Right.
It opened, closed, and then reopened.
Right. But I wonder how many people have been in Chicago since 1997.
Oh, way more.
A bunch of them, right?
Yeah. I know there was one woman who spoke about it who she started as Christine in 2004 and didn't leave till 2011.
My God.
Yeah.
Wow.
I did hear a rumor that all the high notes are pre-recorded. Oh.
No, that can't be true either.
No, I heard it's in their contract that all the high notes are pre-recorded, so that because like that high note at the end of the main song, like you can't mess that up.
Right.
So they just pre-record it.
I don't blame them.
We mentioned a few weeks ago that Jinx Monsoon was added to the Doctor Who cast, and they're now promoting some of her stuff. Both Jinx Monsoon's Instagram account and Doctor Who's Instagram and Twitter released photos of her costume, and they did reveal a little about her character. In the Doctor Who Twitter's post, they said Doctor Who's most powerful enemy yet. Which is, I think Jinx will play a good villain. And also what's exciting, if you look at the image of the costume, on the lapels are piano keys. So I think we're probably going to get some singing from Jinx Monsoon in Doctor Who.
Fun.
Yeah, that's going to be epic. Okay, one more story. If you've been out to eat in Boston a few times, I'm sure you've been to one of this woman's restaurants. Chef Barbara Lynch, it came out this week that there are numerous allegations of emotional abuse and reckless behavior. So the word is that the impetus of this was all a few months ago. a chef who had worked for her for about 10 years and was the executive chef for the company passed away of a drug overdose, he was 10 years sober, and one of his missions was to create a safe environment for recovering addicts in his kitchens. So it's incredibly sad to lose him to his addiction. But at a memorial for this staff member, it said that she went on a drunken tirade and scolded employees and got into an argument with the restaurant's new head chef and fired him, and threatened to shove his head through a window after he claimed that he would ruin her reputation.
Well, also, you're missing an important part of this story. A second chef passed away from a fentanyl overdose. So there were two within a very short time. And so they were having a staff meeting where everybody who came to this staff meeting thought she was going to be like comforting them.
Right.
But instead she yelled at them and was like, "What's going on?"
Yeah.
And somebody recorded the whole thing.
No way.
It's hard to dispute a lot of what happened
Right.
because it was recorded. But, you know, this story was everywhere. It was in the New York Times, the Boston Globe, the Daily Mail UK, like the world reporting on what's happening in Boston in the food scene right now. And I mean, you've met Barbara Lynch, haven't you? I've waited on her before. My only experience with her has been as a really kind, patient, generous patron of where I'm working. She's like a great customer. And you know, I've spent my entire adult life working in restaurants, and it used to be, and like anybody who watched that show, The Bear on Hulu, they're screaming and cursing at each other. It's a work environment unlike no other.
Yeah.
With behavior that would never be tolerated under any other circumstances. And it just used to kind of be understood. It was like, well, of course the chef is going to scream in your face and call you names, and you're going to cry in the bathroom for 5 minutes before you go back to your section.
Oh, I cry in the walk-in.
The walk-in? I don't want my tears like freezing to my face.
That makes sense.
No,
I get
I
that.
like to go to the bathroom where there's paper towels and stuff.
Oh, that's smart.
Yeah, cry in the bathroom. But so like a lot of what I read in this article, I was like, well, that just sounds like a restaurant. But then there are some like pretty serious allegations against her.
Oh,
And
yeah.
it's hard not to, it's like 25 people speaking out.
But I mean, I've worked in restaurants long enough to know that it is a fairly toxic work environment, and not belittling anything she has done, I think it's very serious, but most kitchens, similar things have happened.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I hope this might be a reckoning for the restaurant industry I think taking your job really seriously then transforms into toxic work culture. You know what I mean that way? Because it is serious, it's dangerous working in a kitchen.
Totally.
And you have to have a level of respect for it, and I feel like that's kind of what turns into that toxic work environment.
Right.
And it's also a lot of like, oh, when I started, I had to do this and everyone was mean to me, so I'm going to do it to you to make sure you respect it. You know what I mean? And it's just like, maybe it's time to break that cycle.
I mean, and part of the tragedy of this is that, you know, in order to become, in the 80s and 90s, a woman in a very male-dominated field, like, you have to be a certain kind of person. She grew up in a pretty rough situation, developed a thick skin early on in her life, and so, like, the entire time that she's been succeeding, it's been like, wow, this amazing success story. And that's why I'm like, oh, Barbara, why?
Yeah.
But, you know, we'll see what happens to her after this. I can't imagine. I mean, she is the primary stakeholder in every,
Right.
in all 7 restaurants. And so a lot of the people that were speaking out were like, there was no recourse, because who do you go to when she's at the top of everything?
Right.
So, you know, if this in any way like moves the conversation about what's acceptable in a restaurant situation forward and improves things for everybody,
That's
then
great.
you know, great.
Yeah.
But also lives were lost, so this is just, it's just a really
It's
ugly
sad all
situation.
around, yeah. We have a quick local news announcements. So the boat slip townie passes are now live online. We have the link for that right in the bio. A couple exciting things. So you can only do it online if you had a townie pass last year and you have so that they can use the photo and they can get that to you. So in-person begins Saturday, May 6th and is scheduled once a week until June 4th. All details for this are on the website, but you have to make sure to bring the necessary information. You need proof of ID and address, and be ready to take a picture, because that's going to be immortalized on your pass. And really exciting news, first tee is May 5th, and in addition to Provincetown residents, they are offering townie passes to Truro, Wellfleet, and Eastham residents. the boat slip and the ownership and management recognizes that due to the housing crisis, a lot of people who are part of the Provincetown community and our townies are having to live in Truro, Wellfleet, and Eastham. So they're now offering those townie passes. So be sure to get in there and get yours.
Speaking of Truro, if you were anywhere from Provincetown to, I want to say, Brewster or Sandwich last night at around 11:30 p.m. and you were wondering what that sound was, or if your house shook, there was a house in Truro last night that completely exploded, leveled, flattened, debris everywhere. They're still not sure if anyone was hurt. They're pretty sure that the 2 residents of that address were in another structure on the property and are okay.
Great.
But you could hear it from all over the Cape. And there were people being like, what was that sound? And like, if you read the newspaper article, it was like there was a mattress in the tree, like stuff everywhere. I want to know the brand of that mattress, because if the mattress was the only thing that survived that explosion, that's what I want to sleep on.
Yeah. Smart.
Right?
I just imagine you up in a tree on the mattress.
Like still holding onto it.
Yeah. One more announcement, and then we'll go to our interview. This Saturday is the, I guess, like drug day at the police station. I think it's like a no questions asked. Drop off any expired drugs, and they will get rid of it. And don't flush it down the toilet. We don't want our fish to be high.
Oh. Bring in expired pills and stuff?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Awesome. Cool. Let's talk to How.
Yeah, you guys, I got to sit down with Gwynne Guzzeau last week to talk about her organization helping our women. Check this out.
Good morning, everybody. I'm at Helping Our Women at 34 Conwell Street with Executive Director Gwynne Guzzeau. Gwynne, thanks for making some time to come talk to us.
Absolutely. I was delighted that you guys reached out. Thanks.
Of course. How long have you been working with Hal?
This is my 5th year as the executive director, so that started in late 2018 and started with 2 full-time staff and 1 part-time person. And now we have 3 full-time staff and are opening a 2nd office in Eastham so that we can bookend our service area of Provincetown to Eastham.
Nice. And tell us a little bit of the history of Hal. When was it started? By whom?
So, How was started in 1993, and as your audience probably knows, there were a lot of women in town caring for gay men who were dying from AIDS. And there was a woman, Jenny Shakespeare, who got breast cancer, and her friends helped take her to appointments in Hyannis or Boston, helped pick up prescriptions, and they realized this is a full-time job, and said, you know what? The guys have the AIDS support group. What if we created something similar to help women with cancer? And that was the first conversation, and quickly within the first year, it expanded to women living with any kind of serious health condition or any kind of chronic health condition. So right now, if you have arthritis or anxiety or cancer or MS or Parkinson's, vision loss, any of these kind of chronic health conditions, or if you've broken an ankle and need to get to PT and you only need us and some support for a few months, those are the women that we serve. And out of our 300 clients, about half of them live here in Provincetown. And out of that, about half of them, not all the women we serve are low income. Our transportation program is open to women of any means because it's just so hard to get to the hospital, especially when you're not well. So we have a number of different programs, but the transportation is the biggest to help people get access to healthcare.
How do you patch into these services? Like
Yeah.
call or show up at the door?
Yeah, absolutely. You can call, you can come here to the office. We do have a lot of walk-in traffic here with the community that lives here in Provincetown. Part of my charge when I arrived was from the board said, you know, we want to do even more outreach in the other 4 Outer Cape towns. Wellfleet, Truro, and Provincetown are considered rural from a federal public health point of view. From the state public health point of view, Eastham's included as well. So since I've been here, I've been pounding that drum around being a rural community and the challenges of living in a rural community. So people can get on the web and find us at helpingourwomen.org. You can follow us on Facebook or Instagram, and just give a call. And we're here for any women in the community, anyone who identifies as a woman, and we have services for men. We have a small food pantry that you saw. We also provide information and referral. So every year we serve 10 to 20 men. We have men who have tablets through our internet program that during COVID, some of our partners at the AIDS support group sent some folks our way to get a free tablet and get free internet. So they're still enrolled in that program. But if someone wanted to know how to get benefits or get hooked into some support services, could come here and we would help make those connections.
And a lot of people watching are always wondering how they can individually or personally help out a cause. Do you guys do like one big fundraiser a year? Do you have like little events that pop up, or how can somebody donate?
Well, we can do what you did.
I wasn't gonna bring this up because my know-nothing, know-it-all husband was like, "It's in poor taste to brag about this."
No, it's not.
But thank you, Gwynne.
You're welcome.
So, back when I was doing those birthday fundraisers on Facebook, like you can
Yeah.
pick a cause that's near and dear to your heart. One year I picked How,
Yeah.
and everybody that contributed, we raised over $8,000, I think.
Yeah. And what else? We're working on our 30th anniversary celebration. We haven't chosen a location yet, but sometime in the fall, we'll be celebrating 30 years and looking forward to the next 30. So stay tuned for learning more about that.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for all your hard work over here, and thanks for making some time to talk to us. You guys support HAL, please. It's a great organization that's helping our community and keeping us together, men and women.
Yeah.
You know, we're all together here.
Yeah.
So we'll see you soon.
We have a really special performance for you now. This is Nathalia Steele singing from Once on This Island, Mama Will Provide.
Walk with me, little girl, don't you be afraid. Follow me, little girl, let me be your guide. A pretty thing like you will need a thing or two, and whatever you need, Mama will provide. Down the road, little girl, you may lose your way. All alone in a world that may seem too wide. But still our mama's alive, and I won't draw a map. And whatever you need, Mama will provide. I'll provide you moss to soften the road, rocks to sit on, trees to sleep underneath, sand fun for your toes, plantain to fill up your belly, breeze to fan your face, grass for making your bed, mosquitoes, ha! Bugs will bite, little girl, and the night will fall. All alone in the dark, you'll be terrified, but you will make it through. 'Cause I am liking you, and whatever you need, Mama will provide.
Come on over. Yeah. Incredible job. You said it phenomenal.
So when does the show open?
Do you know the dates of the show?
May 12th and 13th.
May 12th and 13th at 6:30.
So Once on This Island is a really incredible production. What made you choose that show?
Well, as a director, I like to look at the list. We do the junior versions because we're an elementary, middle school show, school. And so I kind of look at the list and I look at 4 that I would be interested in directing, and then I hand it over to the students and they kind of go through a reviewing process and they ultimately choose the show. I think one of the reasons, and I'm speaking, you can agree or disagree, but I think one of the reasons that they landed on Once on This Island is because it really embraces the rich cultural heritage of the Caribbean. And at Provincetown schools, we're a pre-K through 8 school. I mean, I don't know the exact statistic, but like 30% of our student body was born in Jamaica and moved here, has family in Jamaica still, has family or was born in Jamaica. So it's an opportunity for them to like represent their culture on the stage. So it's been a really fun. Would you agree with me there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
Natalia, is it your first musical? Have you done musicals before?
Yeah, I did musicals when I was in 2nd grade. I think
Nice.
the first musical that I did was Honk.
Oh, no way. I
Yeah,
love that one.
that was the first one that I did at Provincetown
Nice,
Schools. Yeah.
nice.
So she's been with me every one that I've done here.
I was going
Yeah.
to say, you two have worked together for a long time.
Yes. Yeah, we have.
What grade are you in now?
7.
7?
Nice. How big is the cast? You got a bunch of kids? Or?
There's about 42 kids involved. And I'm a one-woman show.
Oh, wow.
So, but they're fantastic. And we really focus on the rehearsal process and like how to present yourself and show up in a rehearsal. So, I mean, oh, by the way, it's 42. There's about 32 cast members, but then we have a crew as well,
Oh,
a
awesome.
technical crew. So it's a lot. A majority of the school is in the show, and they really. I'm so proud of you guys. You really they work really hard, so they make my job pretty easy. Yeah.
I mean, and it shows you did a really incredible job in
Yes,
that
you
performance.
did.
I can't wait to see this.
And that's my favorite song from that show. So
Yeah.
you're lucky that that's such a fun one to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Megan, I mean, I've been watching you perform since like, my first summer was 2005 and you played Cinderella that year.
Oh my gosh! Yes.
In Ryan Landry's Cinderella Rocks.
Yeah.
So, and you were Dorothy in Wizen.
Wizen,
right?
yeah.
Like peeing on everybody.
Oh my
With
God.
the ruby panties.
Do your kids know this?
Really? Oh.
Whoops.
That's okay.
But
It was before social media and
Good.
like where everything. So I don't even think there's much footage of that show. So
yeah,
or any of
it
those
was
shows.
Wizen, based on the Wiz, and it was all about, some ruby panties.
Yeah.
And stuff.
Sounds like fun. Sounds like
That's
fun.
how I got my start here in Provincetown.
But you're an incredible performer as well, and it's
Thank
nice
you.
to see you sharing your talent and fostering younger talent.
Yeah, it really, I set off in the world to be, pursue a performing career. And I got to New York City and I quickly learned that grind was not for me. And I don't know, I've landed in this position where I'm able to give particularly middle schoolers the opportunity to put on a show with other middle schoolers. And I think it creates such a safe space for them to express themselves, be themselves, figure out who they are, have fun, work together on a common goal. And just, I needed that when I was in middle school and high school, and to be able to offer that to other kids, I'm able to do what I love. I honestly feel she knows I'm jumping all over the place and singing, and I still get my performing fix as a teacher. But it's very much more in line with like who I am as a person,
And like love for musical theater is contagious, and I'm sure seeing the joy that you put into it makes the kids really love it. And
Yeah,
enjoy
they
it
look
as
at me
well.
a little crazy sometimes, right? I'm a lot.
You
I'm a
gotta-
lot. I've been told that. Miss Megan, you're just so much. And I'm like, yeah, I know.
That's
I know.
what makes you perfect for performing.
Yeah, and we're going to be in a show together this
We
summer.
are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
What is it?
Fantastic.
Yeah. haven't even
I haven't
announced
even
that on
mentioned
here.
it, so that's fine.
I just outed you.
No, it's fine.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I auditioned for the Provincetown Theater's production of The Fantastics that's coming up this summer. It's going to run Monday through Thursdays for most of July and August, and I just found out this morning that you're going to be in it with me.
Yes.
Yeah, really, really exciting. I'll have more details soon, but yeah.
I love that you did that.
No, I love it too. It's great. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, the community definitely come out, show up, support these kids. A lot of people, there's a little bit of a disconnect between the community and the families with kids and stuff. So I would love to see a lot of our viewers show out.
Yeah,
to see your show. Great.
Yeah.
Ticket link is in bio.
Ticket link is in the bio. I mean, my goal for the musical is not for it to be a school community event. Yes, that, but a Provincetown community
Right,
event
definitely.
for people without children to come. And I think our shows are pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so they're the perfect length. They're like just under an hour, no intermission, and they're fast paced and they're fun. So I think while you'll show up and support the school that is here, thriving, pre-K through 8th grade, 141 students, and an infant toddler program as well. I am a mother of 4 kids and who all go to Provincetown schools. We're here year round, and Provincetown does an incredible job supporting families here. And so you'll be showing up to support our school, but also I think you'll enjoy yourself. So,
I love that.
yeah.
Well, thank you so much for coming
Yeah,
in.
no
Thank you for
problem.
your
Thank
incredible
you,
performance.
Natalia.
Nailed
So
it.
proud of you.
And break a leg this May.
Yes, thank you.
See you guys there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we've got a little clip of our weather girl, Ann Hutchinson, or Tomb Raider. You'll see. Check it out.
Hello, it's me, Laura Croft, Tomb Raider. And I will be doing the weather today. Anne's gone, she's in England. I actually brought her back from the dead way long ago, and now we do a house swap every spring. She's probably over there screaming about Brexit or something. You're welcome. Anyways, weather this morning, I woke up and there was a deep haze over the land, left over from last night, I think, and it smells sort of earthy, sort of citrusy. I'd call it very dank, and that's a lot coming from me because I've raided a lot of tombs. Dank ones, yeah. Anyways, then someone told me that every April 20th, a magical plant is celebrated, and this plant is so magical that the state of Massachusetts spends over $100 million on it every month. Think about it. After 8 months, Fox News could pay its settlement for lying in the 2020 election and still have money left over to continue lying in 2024. When I got to Provincetown, I became decided to raid some tombs with weed in it so I could make some money. Let's go see what we can find. Oh, nothing more straightforward than that. Talk about being stoned. Well, don't worry, I will absolutely save Wake Up in Provincetown's YouTube account by doing this directly on camera. But before I get started shoveling, well, I've never really raided a tomb in America before. That was always Nicolas Cage's gig. Let's see. Oh, goodness. Is it true in America they put what the person died from on the tombstone? Because I know within a half mile there's 5 pot shops here in Provincetown, so if there's a place to test the toxicology of the plant, it's here. All right, well, I'm just worried there's a booby trap or something, you know. If I start shoveling, then all of a sudden a THC cloud will come out and I'll be completely distracted and just very content, and I like being a little bitter, so you know what, I need some help. There's a queen in town named Mackenzie. She knows everything about weed, and I think I'll ask for her help tonight at her show. It celebrates 420 tonight, tomorrow night, and yesterday night, and if you liked what you saw here, I'll be there too. Only at the Crown and Anchor!
Be sure to check out the 420 show tonight and tomorrow. I've got tickets for tonight. You're going to join me?
Yeah.
Perfect.
Anne will be there.
Yeah.
Raiding tombs.
Yeah. Please welcome Austin Knight. Thanks so much for coming in today.
Thank you, guys.
Running for select board once again.
Once again,
You served from when to when?
2007 to 2014.
Nice. So what do you think how the issues that Provincetown is facing has changed from your first stint on the select board to now running again? Or how are
Well,
they the same?
I think a lot of them are still the same, but let me just go back to 2007 if I can. In 2007, when I was elected, my first meeting was not with the Board of Selectmen. I got a call from home, and it was from the Department of Revenue. The town hall called me and said, Austin, you got to come into town hall. The Department of Revenue is here. So, you know, there was a little bit of panic on my side because I'm thinking, oh God, what did I do now?
You're like, am I in trouble?
And so when I got there, they said, Austin, we have to have a discussion with you about the town, the finances of the town. And I said, okay. They said, you are aware that you were on the watch list, which I kind of knew but really didn't know the facts behind it. And the watch list was, our accounting was off, our finances were off, similar to what Wellfleet, not to the extent Wellfleet's gone through now, but we were not far from receivership at that point. And they said, what are you going to do? And it's like, I've only been elected like 5 days at that point.
Wow.
I said, well, we have a new town manager, we have a new board of selectmen, and we have to get our financial house in order. And I had the conversation, I said, you got to give us a year to try to get this turned around. And ultimately they did. We were able to get off the watch list by changing a lot of the stuff, the way we're doing our finances, our records. And we got off the receiver list. Our bond rating improved. We changed some of our bonds around to make it more long-term. It made it more acceptable to the Department of Revenue, at which now we're at a very positive place. So that was my first introduction as a selectman. The second thing was Town Hall was condemned. Now, that was from years of neglect, and we have a history in town where we don't always take care of our properties or our community as well as we can. And so we developed a plan. Town Hall was remodeled. It was done in 2 phases. Originally, some of the members wanted to do it in 1 phase. They said, no, that's going to sticker shock the whole town. Let's do it in few. And what had happened is we'd had the outside done, and it looked so beautiful that people were invested in it emotionally again, which then allowed that project to not only be on time, on budget, actually it was ahead of time and on budget and completed. And it is one of the prides of the town.
Yeah, that's great. I've been here just 10 years, so I didn't know it then, and I can't even imagine not being the beautiful building in the center of town that it is now.
Well, the funny thing about that is when the colors changed, and I had mentioned this the other day, when the color changed, because it was white for years, one of our Board of Selectmen meetings that fall, people came in and they were very upset that the town hall colors were current, what they are now, and not white. And so probably if they could have put us on display out in the front lawn, we would have been on the display. So we had brought in the Mass Historical Society into it, which did investigation by taking apart some of the old parts of the building and brought it up to, and said these were the original colors. So once people heard they were the original colors and it wasn't our idea, everything was fine. So that was the second calamity. And that one was, the third one was on 4th of July when the sewer went down. And it was
Still happening.
Yeah.
well, it happened again, but what happened this time is we identified a situation in the investigation where at that time they couldn't shut off sections of the town. There was only like 3 or 4 sections they could shut off. So when something happened to the East End, it shut the entire system down. So what happened is they were able to put more controls throughout the town to stop that problem. The current one had to do with electrical, and now they're developing a plan where they bring more generators in and address it quicker so it doesn't affect it as much. So unfortunately, with each accident or each situation occurred, you have to come alive and you have to come up with a solution, which the town has, which now brings us to housing, which is the #1 critical issue. It always has been. People don't realize when I was on the Board of Selectmen originally, Providence Lands was just in the beginning stages. They were just, the contracts had gone out to the developers to do the project. When they came in to bid on the project, they said, we don't need your money, we don't need state money, we have enough money to do this project. So it was stalled for many months. So I led the discussion at the Board of Selectmen meeting at that time to send them a letter in regards to their conversation that they had with us and reminding them that they said they didn't need this other money, that they could do it. And shortly after that letter went to them, they then started the project, and then it was completed ahead of schedule from what they projected. So there were more people able to stay here by those units being available. People don't realize that I was on the chair of the Board of Selectmen at the time. I was the one who negotiated the deal for the purchase of the VFW property. And they were friends of mine from the VFW. There were some financial problems that VFW was having at the time. And we actually met at Town Hall, because Town Hall was back in service at that point. And we were at the town manager's office, and we had the negotiations going on there with the veterans. Tommy Steele was one of them. The commander, Andy, was one of them. And Paul Mendes was one of them. So we had the negotiations to buy that property. And we bought it for $900,000, which is $300,000 less than it was valued at the time. And that was a gift to the town from them, with a promise at that point we were trying to make it a police station and housing combination. That changed the town meeting, so it became housing only. But they also wanted a spot at the police station to maintain their services. We were able to give them their services at the veterans school so they can continue their program. Unfortunately, talking to some of the members now, they're at a point now where most of the members that I knew then are gone. And so we're at limited services. They still provide scholarships for kids and so forth. So we still have some promises we need to keep the VFW members by keeping them up at least at Veterans Community Center.
Yeah.
Why did you choose now to run again?
I think with my past experience and my passion for this town, I love this town. I've lived here for 27 years. And I know a lot of the history, I know a lot of the people, and I think when I left in 2014, there was a lot of challenges going on, we'll say, at the time. My mother was terminally ill at the time, and I decided to be with my mother. In hindsight, it prepared me for today because in that next 3 years, I lost 12 significant people in my family and friends. And I took a little time to heal from that. And now I feel I have the strength and the passion to come back. And also the skills, not only in leadership, but past experience to help move this housing more forward than it has been. I believe the articles at town meeting, the spirit of them was very good. They weren't quite there yet. I'm willing to work with whoever wants to come forward again to get those articles back in the fall town meeting and to get that passed again to start this process. But we have to be very careful as a town to understand there are economics also involved. You know, we bring in over $5 million between our rooms tax, our parking, our meals tax, and our marijuana tax now. We bring in almost $5 million. We need to take that money and go out for a long-term bond to help us with a solution. One of the things that may come up is building on Route 6 when they take care of that and make it one side of the lane and the other side for municipal use. Take that money and go into a long-term bond so we can develop our own housing so we don't have to, we can develop it for similar to the Patrick family where we have dormitory style housing, we have studio housing, we have bedroom housing for families to be able to come back here and keep our workforce. We are the economic drive on the entire Outer Cape.
Yeah.
And if you look at Cape as a whole, in all the recessions we've had, Provincetown in the last recession maybe lost 5% to 9%, while towns across the Cape are losing 20 to 25% of their income during that period. We've always been able to sustain that, and that's because we were forethinking in what we do to maintain our #1 industry, which is tourism and hospitality.
Right. Besides housing, is there any other issues you're feeling really passionate about going into the election?
I think my experience has been on the board can help with that discussion to bring the community back together. I think the community got very divided at times. It's been divided for several years now. My campaign sign says community first. I believe in that. I believe in the relationships I've built up through the years. I believe we can bring everybody into the conversation and work for solutions to make this town even grow more.
I think we do have to address the elephant in the room.
Oh, talk about it.
There was a petition to recall you before
It
you
was.
stepped down. Can you
It
talk
was.
a little bit about that?
Sure, I'll be happy to. First of all, I do support all the emergency services, both police and fire. I did not know that my signs ended up where they ended up. And actually, the chief of police current now is the one who brought him into the station. And that, you know, that is the elephant in the room. I stepped down, my mother got terminally ill. I did not have the energy at that time to fight the recall and also be with my mother. And to be honest with you, when it came down to whether I'm gonna fight or be with my mother, I chose to be with my mother. After that, my brother died. I left office at the beginning of May. My brother died the third week of May of a heroin overdose. And then my aunt died, my uncle died, my father died. A good friend of mine in the program I belonged to died, my sponsor in that program died, and my best friend died, all within that period. So you don't know what's going to happen when you make a decision, and what happens in the future, how you deal with it is how you do it. So yes, the elephant in the room is the signs. My signs say community first. I've always been community first. I've always been supportive of the police. I've always been supportive of the fire department. Our volunteer fire department, which is one of the best. Our medical services. We have one of the best medical services on the entire Cape, and that's because we're about an hour away from the hospital. But I was also on the board when we challenged Outer Cape to extend their services 7 days a week and also build up more services there. Both being before, if you cut your finger, you had to sit, you had to go to Hyannis Hospital.
Wow.
You could not go to Outer Cape. If you needed an x-ray, you had to go up Cape. You could not do it here.
Like while I've lived here, like not that long ago.
Right. All that has happened, And we were part of that. I was part of the discussion with the board to allow that community needs be met. A lot of people don't realize when Stop and Shop came into town, and they're a good partner, don't get me wrong, but their pharmacy was lacking at the time. And you would go in there and you'd have to wait 3 days or 5 days for your prescription. And we sent a letter from the board, I instituted a letter from the board to go to Stop and Shop saying, look, this isn't working for us. You're not serving the needs of our community. We sent them a letter, and within a short time, they brought more people in, and then the service got much better. And they're a good partner. And I want to bring the partners of the community together for solutions, and I think we can do that. So yes, the elephant in the room is the science. It happened. It's over. It's history. Let's move on.
Your passion and love for the community are very obvious.
Oh, I came here when I was 13 years old as a Boy Scout. I'm an Eagle Scout. I can say that. But I came here, and the only thing I remember is the monument and the old fire truck up there. That's what I remember. I was so terrified as a kid coming here because I grew up in the country. I'd never experienced anything like that. Who knew that just about 7 years later I would come here on a regular basis for the next 40 years of my life and eventually move here. I got involved in the community. I was on the AIDS support group. I was president of the AIDS support group. People don't realize 10 years ago, we were on week-to-week money in the support group to keep it going. We had to change some of the programs in order to sustain that and keep it going strong, which it has. And I was one of the leaders that got the monument of that AIDS memorial at Town Hall. There was a war on AIDS in this country, and they said we only want war memorials on there, and it was a war. And a lot of people came here to die with dignity. This town has never turned its back on people of need, and it won't do it. And as a select person, I'll make sure that doesn't happen.
I mean, nobody runs for office because it's fun.
No, and you're not running for the economics. You're not running to make money because it's not there.
So thanks for throwing your hat back in the ring.
Absolutely.
He'll see you on Thursday at the Candidates Forum.
Look forward to it.
Thank you so much for coming in this morning to chat with us.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, good luck.
It was good to see you.
You too.
Thank you to all our viewers at home. Thank you to our sponsors, the Boat Slip, the PBG, also the Brass Key.
Right in, Cafe Heaven.
Crown and Anchor, Provincetown Brewing Company.
Thanks for waking up in Provincetown.
Wherever you are.
And we'll see you next Friday.
Good morning, everybody.